on the game first, and then we'll take questions from these guys.
Well, another one-run game. We hung in there. Obviously, it was not our best night offensively, and we needed to make a ton of pitches. And once again, we continued to make pitch after pitch. And they had, how many they left on base? Left 11 on base. It seems like that. They had some opportunities. I think the strikeout with Alex, with Gavin Sheets, with the bases loaded, 1 out, was a huge turning point in that game. Even though it was early, we had a tough decision to make about who we were going to start after Alex, because I just had that feel that we were going to have a little trouble scoring runs. It was just that feel, just a gut feel. So, we had the opportunity to move Jackson up 1 start, and we'll piece this thing together. Brady come back on Monday, Michael as well, and then obviously, we got some out of Alex too. So we'll see how tomorrow goes, but just one of those games. And both teams pitched exceptionally well. Their starter was really good. Their closer was good as advertised with a slider. Just kind of lost the zone there in the 11th, and we had a senior at the plate that stayed right in the middle of the field and had a big hit for us. So not an easy game, but we did just enough to win. And Wake Forest has got a heck of a ball club, and tomorrow's not going to be easy.
Questions?
Ryan, first game back in 2 weeks. Just how does it feel to be able to kind of come through after having that kind of layoff?
It was nice. I mean, obviously to get the win, but throughout the week, I got to thank the pitchers that stayed late and threw live to me. Cole May, Garrett Milchin, a couple others. Thank you. That helped make me feel a lot more comfortable at the dish, with the little flap thing and, that. But, we got the win tonight, so I feel pretty comfortable now.
What was the approach like on the last at bat? You struck out Cole on 3 straight pitches. Kind of gets a strike to you. What are you thinking in that situation?
I was watching those pitches on Mark, and it looked like it had some ride to it. And walking up there, I remember we were watching a game in the locker room a few days ago, and Sully said, spit out some stats, 74% of game-winning hits are up the middle or something like that. So just decided to stay up the middle of the field. And
you've had a bunch of highlights this year, but what's the emotion of this one, having to watch last week and then having your teammates chase into the outfield and just everything this game entailed?
It was pretty cool. Definitely a lot of fun tonight. You even have fun when you're sitting in the locker room for 3 hours waiting around, just goofing off. And we stayed pretty loose as a club, but tonight was a lot of fun. It's definitely a memory for sure.
Brady, did you know there was a chance you might pitch if there was a rain delay today?
Yeah, in my mind, I knew I wanted to go, and then Sully came up to me and asked me, and it was a definite yes, and I was just fortunate enough to get out there.
What were you feeling out there? You were so jacked up after this big strikeout. Just take us through the emotion out there.
Super regionals postseason. We're trying to get to Omaha, and I think you got to pitch with emotions in the postseason. Just had a lot of fun. The fans were great, and my defense really picked me up in clutch situations. The play by Dalton, the play by Andy was huge.
Michael, how did you kind of hang in there mentally? You gave up the homer on the second pitch, and you had a few jams, but just how do you think you managed to work through it and put your team in position to win?
Just getting ahead and throwing strikes, getting ground balls or striking guys out, just whatever, just getting back in the dugout with zeros.
Coach, what was the thought process in deciding to go to Michael instead of sticking with Brady? How much talk went into it?
I thought there was a lot of emotional pitches that Brady had to make, and we've gone to Michael Byrne the whole year in the 9th inning. So that happens. Their kid put a good swing on a pitch. What are you going to do? He earned it. Went the opposite way, and and we still can use both these guys this weekend. I wouldn't second guess that decision at all, because Michael's been the guy at the end of the game, and quite honestly, we need Brady again this weekend. So just that simple.
Coach, any sympathy for a player who has to face Brady and Alex in the same day on the same game?
Well, they're both really good. It's almost similar to the game we played South Florida when their starter came out after 2 and they had every one of their better relievers come in, and it was a bit frustrating because they were all very talented. But the idea was, I mean, who else were we going to go to at that point? It was either pitch Jackson or pitch Brady, and you know, if we'd have scored a couple more runs, maybe we would have thrown Langworthy, you know, for an inning or two and try to bridge the gap until. But I just know how well Wake Forest hits, and you know, got to win game one. And like I said, both guys are still going to be available for this weekend, so will Alex.
So how did you just feel about, you know, Ryan being up there in that situation? Cole Farley just struck out, and having a veteran guy with the game on the line there.
Well, I think a lot of times you do get these big hits from your older, more experienced players, and you know, he told you most base hits that win ball games are through the middle of the field, and they're on the ground. Not many are in the air, and he stayed with the approach. He was throwing all fastballs. He had bounced a lot of his breaking balls in warm-ups, and put a really good flat swing on it. You know, so you know, I'm happy for him. And I just saw the highlights, and you had a pretty good time in that dog pile. So no, but I'm really happy for Ryan. You know, he's a senior and he deserves it.
So like, despite the home run, the 10th inning, bases loaded, I mean, what does it say about Michael being able to hang in there for those couple outs there?
He's got ice in his veins, you know. You know, the thing is, I think after the first inning, after the home run, he only had 10 pitches. So, I mean, he just kind of flushed the home run and kept throwing strikes. So he's been doing that all year long for us.
Ryan, that was a little bit of a hustle play in your first at bat. When say, did you, I don't know, try to make something happen? Did you have a little pent up energy there that you just saw an opportunity? You know, what was going through your mind when you went around first there?
No thinking chance, you know. So I knew I had a chance. So 2 outs, first at bat back. You know, why not go for the double? I guess I got a little greedy, but it worked out.
Can you take us through what you were dealing with after that hit by pitch and how you were feeling last week?
I mean, it definitely spooked me when it happened at first, and then, you know, to go through, you know, the surgery and all that nonsense. But I felt pretty good coming into this week, and again, you know, props to the guys that got me ready, and you know, I felt pretty comfortable throughout the whole process.
What was the procedure?
They just had to put my bone back where it's supposed to be, I guess.
That's one way to say it.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? All right. Thanks.